Hello everybody, this is Cheri, djsundry.blogspot.com, and I have recently posted a video called What's on Your Desk Maker's Challenge, and I wanted to just post another one just to encourage people to join me in cleaning their desk by making things out of their leftovers that are already sitting on their desk. So for the first video, I'll put a link down in the description box below so that you can see it, but I am encouraging you to play along. So what I would like you to do is make any project using items from your desk. You can use any items, including tools. You can use 2 items that aren't on your desk. So maybe you have all the fun things on your desk, but you don't have adhesive. Well, you can grab adhesive. That would be one of your 2 items. Maybe you have dies on your desk, but you don't have a die cutting machine on your desk. Well, that would be your second item. Anything like that, 2 items of your own. Then I want you to post a picture of your desk and a picture of your project on Instagram by June 15 and use the hashtag What's on Your Desk Makers Challenge. Now you might say, but my desk is always clean. I always clean my desk before I finish up my crafting because I really like to come and have a clean space, clean mind, start fresh. I like that too. Doesn't always happen, usually doesn't happen, but I like to do that. So I didn't want you left out if you are one of those great people who do that. So I came up with a second set of rules so that you can join the challenge, and that is for those of you, but what if I always clean my desk? And I realize I'm missing some words in there. What if I always clean my desk? Then have somebody choose 10 items from your stash and place it on your desk. Now you can't prompt them. You can't say, well, get that die over there, over there sitting on the counter. Get that piece of paper and make sure you get me a nice stamp set. No prompting. They have to choose the items and put them on your desk. And then you can follow all the other rules of choosing 2 items that you need to finish up the project, of posting your picture. Now, I would love someday to have a sponsor so that the next round of this in a couple weeks, maybe we could have a sponsor. So if you're a sponsor out there and you see this and you want to join us, contact me. I would love to have you sponsor this. Okay, so let's move on. Now, I have not added anything to my desk from the first video, the one in the description box below. In fact, if you watch that video, you'll see that I didn't use 2 items, I only used 1. So I felt like it would be cheating if I kept that one on my desk, so I put that back away because I don't want any cheating. I want to really challenge myself to use what's on my desk. Now I'm not going to go over all the junk I have laying on my desk. There's a lot. You can see it in the picture that I posted at the end of the video, what my desk looked like before I started these 2 challenges. So you can definitely watch that and see what that looked like. But I am going to use the same supplies. I didn't add anything else, and use what's on my desk. So when I was cleaning up, I did find that I had one piece, half piece, that's actually perfectly cut and perfectly sized for a card base already. So I was like, whew, I have a card base, yay. Last time I used something that I also had that was big enough and it actually made a bigger card, but you're gonna have to go over to Instagram. I'm not gonna show that to you. So I do have that. Now I don't have a score buddy or score pal or anything to score with, so we're just gonna have to go with good old-fashioned fold it in half. So I am going to fold that in half. And I could, I guess, use a ruler. I do have that on my desk. And I do have my bone folder on my desk. So didn't cheat. That tool was already on my desk. And I will go ahead and give myself a nice crease. So I have card base. So that's a good start. I have plenty of other scraps of paper. I actually wanted to do something, I think, with watercolors. Now, though I don't have watercolors on my desk and I don't have any water on my desk as far as cups of water. I did have my distress sprayer with water. I've got Perfect Pearl water, so I've got water there. I do have some of the water brushes that actually happen to have water in them in my stash. And they're sitting here on my desk. They're always on my desk. And then I have some, not my favorite brushes, not my good brushes, but I do have some brushes. So I think what I want to do with this one is I want to do a watercolor panel. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this panel down. Thankfully, luckily for me, I do keep this little paper cutter on my desk, so I don't have to get a ruler out. And that's a good thing because I'm not a very good cutter. So my card base is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So I'm going to cut my panel down to 4 by 5 1/4, just like I would if I was doing anything else for a card. So that gives me a good size for that. And then I don't have any paints on my desk other than what I have on a couple palettes. So I have this palette, and this really was truly on my desk. And it's got some leftover paints. Now I will tell you that in my other project I wet the pink and the blue, and they're getting watered down enough, even though on the palette they look okay. Once they get on the paper, not so much. So I don't know that I'll use those colors, but I do have some more vibrant colors here that maybe I could use. So let's see. Hopefully I have a good brush. The kind that and by good I mean, what is this? It's a number 8. I really would prefer a 6. There's a 5, but that's not a very good brush. Well, there's a 3. That might work. What else do I have here? A 1, but I don't really like that brush. This is just a cheap brush, and I have no size on it. However, what I do have is I like the shape of it. So I think I'm going to go with this brush. Now, I think I'm going to take my water. I do have off the camera on the side here. Let me just show you. I did have this that had a little bit of gouache and a little bit of gold paint in it. So I'll just spray some water in there so I can get my brush wet. And then let's see if we can make some flowers. So I have this purple, I have this mauve. I don't know if I have enough yellow there, but let's try. Let's start with the purple. Just kind of I think I have enough there that I'll be able to do that. Let's see. All right, here goes. So let's start. I learned to make these flowers by, I think it was Creation CC on YouTube. Now this is going to be a little bit challenging. Let's see if I can get another little bucket of water. So I've got one to clean my paintbrush and one that's more clear. Let's see if we can do this. We got this, right? All right. So let's take this and let's see. I really enjoyed that tutorial by her. I'll see if I can find it below and link that. Let's just drop a little bit more color in there. Just kind of wiggly jiggly flowers is really all that these are. Go in, clean off the brush a little bit, get some clean water, and try this one. Again, really, I'm not an artist, but I enjoy trying. And these little wiggly jiggly flowers really are simple. And I've got quite a lot of water on there, so we're going to just kind of let that sit back. Just clean my brush, wipe it off. I do have paper towels I could use if I need them. Also sitting on my desk. I don't know what you keep on your desk all the time, but those are pretty much staples for me. Paper towels, always on the desk, along with baby wipes. Alright, let's kind of broaden that one out. And then let's go back in. Let's add just the tiniest bit of more color and see if we can get that color moving a little bit. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to let that dry and move on to a different flower. Now this is where it's going to get challenging because I don't have much water there. So let's see if I've got enough to actually have a clean brush. I'm going to go to this yellow. I've got a little bit of darkness in that yellow over there. I've got that little darker spot on the edge. I hope that I can use that later. There's a tiny bit of brown there I might be able to use too. So let's come down here and do the same thing with our 3 little dots. And see what we want to do there. Okay, clean the brush. It's amazing that you can actually kind of clean a brush in that little amount of water. Alright, here goes. Drop that in and just wiggle and jiggle that out. Same here. Boy, it would be nice to have a little bit more paint here, folks. But we're going to make this work. I know we are. Let's see if we can pick up a little bit more pigment and put it in there. I think, honestly, these tiles, with the projects that I originally made with them, they're probably getting, I guess I could add more paint to the colors to use it for mix. Otherwise it might be getting mighty close to time to just clean that and start over. But okay, start of flower number 2. We're going to let that just dry a little bit because it does have a little bit more water, and we're going to go to flower number 3. Isn't that kind of mauve-y color, a gorgeous color? I'm not even sure which colors I used, probably more than one. I probably mixed colors to come up with that color, but I thought it was so pretty. Okay. And to clean off my brush, get some clean water, and let's just start with those. Looks like I'm able to get a little bit more pigment than even I thought I was getting, so that's good. It's going to still be a soft watercolor, but I think I'm going to be happy with this. I really do. Now, you can see I'm not spending a lot of time on these. Just playing with it. Okay, let's drop some more in those centers just to kind of darken those. And I'm going to clean again. I'm going to pick up a little bit more of that yellow and try that again. And let's see, let's dry off the brush. Now I have a baby wipe sitting off camera that helps kind of clean some of that off too. I want to drop just a little bit of a deepening of that in here. Like that. Okay, now we're going to go back to our first flower. And at this point, I'm using the baby white more for cleaning than I am the water because it's just a mess. And I'm going to do a couple more petals. We're going to put one right here. Let's go right here. And we'll come out just like we did on the others. And come out there. Drop a little bit more purple in there. Okay, now let's go to this one, same thing. I'm trying to be careful not to cut or touch the petals around it, because though they are drier than when I walked away, and I'm less concerned about them running together than I was, they're still not completely dry. So I know that if I got too much pigment into those, they would come together. Now, I think I'm going to just let that be for now with the purple one. Clean my brush again. Try to clean my brush. And then we're going to go do the same thing with a couple more yellow ones. So I'll try to pick up around the edges, pick up a little bit more pigment. Let's see. where do I want to put this one? Let's put this one over here. I'm not sure I'm going to like that, but we'll see. Alright, now let's pick up some water. I'm going to have to spray a little bit more water, I can already tell. There we go, that way. And then clean, pick up a little more water. The idea is to pick up, let the water as it goes out, let your paint flow out to the clean water, but have that darker pigmented color towards the center, much like it would be in a natural flower. So that's what I'm going for. Honestly, I think this one, I know that throws off your odd number, but I think I'm going to go ahead and do a 6th flower here, or 6th petal on this one, because that one looks too wonky for me. So I think I'm going to go against the going with odd numbers in your flowers and opt instead to go with an even number, just so that I can balance that flower out a little bit more. And I'm going to have to get more water to do that. So different, folks, not having my pail of water here. That definitely makes a difference. Alright, we're just going to let that flow out into that water. Come back into that one, let that one flow out too. Encourage it with my brush to flow a little bit. The yellow, definitely, if I was going to do something with the yellow, I definitely would need to add more yellow to it. Okay, try to clean that off. And now we're going to go back to the mauve. Pick up a couple of more dots of mauve. Take one right there. I think for this one, I want one right here. Go on a little more than that. This brush is actually, you can see, I don't know if you can see it on camera, probably not, but it's actually picking up, it's kind of shedding a little bit, but it's still working, so it may not be as good as my favorite brushes stacked in a drawer lying flat like they should be, but it's doing the job. Some clean water. Let's move to this one. That petal ended up being a little bit darker than I expected. I had more paint on my brush than I thought I did. It's okay. Alright. Look at that movement in that one. Can't really see it on camera as much as you can in real life, but okay. Yeah, it's definitely going to take some more practice for me to get this whole symmetry down for the odd numbers, because I don't love those gaps I have in the pink and mauve, but I don't want also, or the pink and the purple, but I also don't want to put in a 6th flower. So I think what I'm going to do next is I have this darker color here and I have a darker color here. I'm going to try to reconstitute this one and see, it's kind of a reddish color. No, I bet that would be pretty. Let's add a little bit more water. I bet that would be pretty in the center here. Now, you notice that I touched that odd petal with it. I knew I was doing that, and I actually am okay with that. It's going to seep just a little bit into there. I'm not going to move it much because I don't want it to seep a lot, but I'm okay with it seeping just a little bit. But now I'm going to have to do it to all of them to make it kind of match. That's okay. It just gives me a little bit more dimension to my flower, so I need some more water to get that moving. Oh, and that's when there's too much water. Well, I'm committed now, right? Definitely did not mean to do that. However, all is not lost, because Remember what I said, I always have a paper towel on my desk. So I can lift some of that. And I think you're still going to end up with a beautiful flower. Simple, 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 but still pretty. Just by lifting off some of that extra paint. Oh yeah, I like that. That long petal is so wet still. I think I can come backwards from it, add a little bit of yellow. Oh yeah, that turned out better than I thought it would. Okay. Let's see. There we go. We better quit fussing with that, or I'm gonna just completely lose it in that one. Okay. For my purple and mauve one, I have this piece over here. Let's see what color. That's what I thought. Thought it was going to end up being a little bit of black. And I'm okay with that. Now the purple flower is pretty much dry. So when I'm putting this little bit of center in there, I am not worried about it running into the petals, which is good because I really don't want it running into the petals. We'll have to be a little bit more careful with the pink flower because it's not all the way dry. And just like that, I did not mean to do that. I should have waited. That's okay. Let's just see if we can lift that still. We can. Good. Oop, saved. Okay. All right. Now, green. We need some green on there, and it's time to put our stems. I'm hoping that that's how I can also save these odd looking flowers out there. I'm going to wet all of this green and kind of mix some of it together. Kind of make my own color. I'm going to take, I had the little liner brush. Get it wet. And let's pick up some of that, and I'm just going to draw simple squiggly lines all the way down. I'm going to move this one over here. I am not trying to do a straight line because flowers aren't straight, right? Flowers, you never see a straight, perfectly straight stem, and it just wouldn't look natural if you tried to do a straight line. So there I've got that. Now I am going to, I did see in here, never tried this before, so, but I'm going to try it now, because, you know, why not? Let's see. Never really used a flat brush on this type of a thing. I'm just afraid to do that. You know, I just think I'm going to have to go back in and put in a 6 petal. I think it looks funnier without, with that big hole there, than it would be to have an odd number of petals. So I'm just going to do that. Try to clean my brush as best as I can in all these bits of water I have around here using a baby wipe. And let's see, need another place for some clean water. I'm going to pick up, thankfully I have enough purple to do this. And do that. Clean, clean. Pick up some clean water and pull it out. Actually, I think that's better than had I left it, so I think that was a good choice. I definitely, this whole watercolor adventure for me is new, and I am loving it. Obviously, I have a lot more practice to do, right? Now you might be thinking, man, your work surface is a mess. You're right, it is. But it will be easy to clean, because that is the beauty of having a glass mat. It will clean so easily. Drop some more in here. Okay. I don't love how that still fits, so let's kind of broaden it. Some clean water and broaden that out. Touch that. This is a wet on wet technique, but it almost is dry enough that it makes it, on some of the petals, it's more of a wet on dry technique. So, because you see like this petal here is pretty dry. When I drop that extra color in, because it just needed just a little bit more color, I'm darkening it from the center and working my way out towards the edge of the petal. But some of those leaves are fairly dry, so you get a little bit different look than if it was wet on wet. So, and I'm okay with that. All right, we're going to just let that go, and we're going to go back to our green. Let's pick up this. I'm not really using the flat brush as a flat brush, as you can see. But let's see what happens if I try. That's kind of cute. Yeah, I'm liking that. Okay. All right. Now, clean the brushes. Now, obviously, I have not used, so far, I've not used any of my second tool or second piece that I can use. So I guess if we were stretching things a little bit, we could say that, you know, I'm going to have to clean these brushes. I'm going to have to use water to clean these brushes, and it's going to take more than what I've got right here. So maybe I'm going to have to use that as my second tool, because obviously these brushes are not going to get cleaned this way. I'm not going to do that on camera. You all know how to clean brushes, most likely. If you don't, I'm just going to clean them up with some water later. But I'm going to turn this. Now, the best would be to let this dry naturally, probably. But for the sake of time, and because I have on my desk my embossing tool, I'm going to go ahead and use that. And it doesn't even take up one of my tools because it's there. So let's go ahead and dry that so I can finish off the card. I'm not going to make it crispy dry. I am just going to dry it enough so that I can continue to working. So on my desk, I did have some stamps. I have some a few sentiment stamps here. Let's see, have a great day. That's kind of fun. That would make a real, I think I'm going to use that. I was actually, when I started this, I thought I'm going to do a birthday card, but honestly, I'm going to do have a great day. Then I can use this card for anything. Now, I was very thankful. If you saw my last video, this was the only block that I had. Now, for my last video, the stamp that I used was much larger than my block, and I didn't want to use my second tool to be a block. So, you'll have to watch that video to see how that worked. It actually did work. Now, I have never used this stamp before, so, and it's a stamp brand that I'm really not super familiar with. So I am going to kind of prime my stamp a little bit. I'm going to get it on my skin, try to move off some of that extra stuff. But the best way that I found to prime stamps is to use archival ink. Now, this is where I'm going to pull out. So we're going to say that my first tool is the water that I use to clean my tools. My second item that I'm using for the challenge, I pulled out of a drawer my Ranger Archival ink. But I am going to, because I've not used this stamp before, what I want to do is I have a piece of just scrap paper sitting here, some scribbles and stuff on it, and I am going to start the first image by stamping on something else. And actually, I'm surprised that's really a good stamp. So I think I'm going to just put this right in the center, right up here. My original plan was to come down here with a birthday stamp, but I have this blank spot here, and I think it's going to be perfect for a sentiment. Now, I also want to remember that this is a watercolor cardstock that I had sitting on my desk. So you want to make sure that you've got plenty of ink, because the watercolor cardstock is textured. You want to make sure that you are applying enough pressure without rocking your stamp, and that you've got plenty of ink so that you get a good impression. Because I have found that for me, it's more difficult to get a good impression on watercolor paper. Now, this is a place where having my stamp tool would be great, but I don't. But what I do have is I made this little stamp thing. And let's see if I can kind of use that to keep me from rocking. I don't know if it's working. I actually made a bigger one, but for that, it worked. Yay! Love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right. Now, I did have on here, I have the ever slightest amount of gold metallic in here still. Now, on my last card, I used that. I don't know if I'm going to get away with using it again, but I'm sure going to try. Such a pretty little bit of gold. So I'm going to take a clean brush, because I do happen to have one of those still sitting here. I'm going to get it wet with water, and I think I'm going to rehydrate my gold metallic with my Perfect Pearl water. And the reason I'm choosing the Perfect Pearl water is because it has that little bit of a sheen from the Perfect Pearl. And this is on my desk. I did not go get it for this video, but because it has that little sheen, hopefully it'll help emphasize that metallic. Now, I was surprised on the other card that I made that I had enough metallic that actually when it dried you could actually see the metallic. But what I want to do is I just want to go around the edges of this card, and let's see if it's going to be enough metallic to really let me do it. If not, it won't hurt anything. But if it picks up, I think it might. I'm optimistic, folks. Even if it picks up just the tiniest bit of sheen in there, then it's a win. Now, I have really been lately, while we're going over this, I've been thinking about the power of encouragement. You know, some days it's just so nice to be an encouragement. I've also been thinking about the old school letter writing. I don't know if, like me, when you were younger, you had a pen pal. I had a couple. One was through some, I don't know, organization or something where I was writing somebody in Japan. I don't remember how many letters we went back and forth. It wasn't a lot because I wasn't a very good pen pal. But then I had another girl when I was 11. She was a year or so older than I am. And we wrote back and forth occasionally for a few years. So the reason I'm going into that is because with this particular card, since it's an all occasion card, wouldn't it be perfect to be an encouragement to somebody with it? I think so. So that's what I'm going to do. Well, I have a little tiniest bit of sheen up at the top. There's a little bit on the edges. I don't know if it's going to be enough to be noticeable, but it definitely didn't hurt anything, and who knows, maybe it'll give that extra little spark. So we are going to give that just a second to dry. It won't take long, and I am going to pull out my card base. It's all ready to go, and we are going to go ahead and mount this. Super simple, folks. Isn't that pretty? Really easy. Just a little encouraging card, and I think I know exactly who I'm going to send it to. Just to say, have a great day. Maybe not. Maybe I'll send it to somebody else. That's still not quite as dry as I would like, but for the sake of the video, I want to keep moving. So, actually, let's pull and you actually can see that sheen in there if you hold it just right around the edge. It will do. Now, because this is watercolor card, I'm going to use extra adhesive. The card bases, I did just order Nina's Classic Crest, 110 pound. I've never used it, but I know that that is a well-known standard for cards, because I've realized that the more I watercolor, the less that I like the card bases that I've had and that I've used for years. So I ordered some of that today. It'll be here in just a few days. But it takes a lot of adhesive to hold down watercolor, or I feel like it does. I'm always afraid it's going to pop up. But there we have that. Now I could add some interest, and I think I'm going to, because I've kind of been into this lately. I've got this white gouache here that is, I actually did for a card, and I am going to just flex some of that on, or I'll just fleck it on me too. You know, it's okay. Now this picked up the ever so slightest bit of green, because apparently this paintbrush had green on it. But by adding those little bits of flecks, I'm adding some interest. I'm going to pick up some of this pink dirty water over here. Remember, it was just water. That's all it was. And let's just pop some of those on there. Ooh, I did not want that big one to go. Kind of pinky, purpley, mauvey, fluffy water. Should we clean this off a little bit? Try to clean it off. My poor brushes. I really would love to get some of that yellow. Wonder if I think it's time to clean that off anyway, so I'm not going to worry too much about wasting it. Let's just pull it up with some perfect pearls. I think I need to start using my Tim Holtz flat brush for that more, because I feel like I would have more control than I do with a paintbrush. Have you used both? If you have, make a comment below. Tell me which one you think works better for paint splattering. Do you have more control with that, where you can just kind of pull the bristles? I have one that I actually bought for alcohol inks, but I haven't really used it that much, so I could definitely use it for watercolors. Okay, there we go. I like those extra dots. It adds just that extra little bit. I wish I could get a little bit in there. I wonder if I could just, I know what I'll do. I've seen this done before. Maybe I could just, no. Alright, time to get messy. Let's just do it that way. Alright. We're going to stop and we're going to call this a day. So there is my second challenge for What's on Your Desk, or my second project for the What's on Your Desk Makers Challenge. Again, be sure if you're playing along to post something on Instagram and use the hashtag What's on Your Desk Makers Challenge, and do it by June 15th. And then we will do another challenge in a couple weeks. So thanks so much for stopping by today. And remember, take some time to enjoy the little things. Have a great day. Bye.